tonight this screencast is on Tennyson, Alfred Lord Tennyson's Break, Break, Break. It was written in 1835 and published in 1842. It's often considered to be an elegiac lament for Tennyson's deceased friend Arthur Henry Hallam, who was also a poet. Interesting there's a lot of discussion on the relationship between Tennyson and Hallam. He claimed to be a very close friend of his. At one point in time, Hallam was engaged to Tennyson's sister Amelia. But there are also a lot of scholarly belief that Tennyson and Hallam may have also been lovers, like that they were, because Hallam was considered to be openly gay, which I know is kind of strange that he was engaged to the sister Amelia. But if you think about the time period, there were a lot of men that could not be openly homosexual. So it's an interesting kind of concept, but only in the sense that it led to some of Tennyson's greatest works. Like his In Memoriam AHH was about Arthur Henry Hallam, and it's widely considered that this also is for Arthur Henry Hallam as well. So there are 4 stanzas of 4 lines each. We call those quatrains. So let's read it and then we'll discuss it. Break, break, break on thy cold gray stones, O sea, and I would that my tongue could utter the thoughts that arise in me. Oh, well for the fisherman's boy that he shouts with his sister at play. Oh, well for the sailor lad that he sings in his boat on the bay, and the stately ships go on to their haven under the hill. But oh, for the touch of a vanished hand and the sound of a voice that is still. Break, break, break at the foot of thy crags, O sea, but the tender grace of a day that is dead will never come back to me. So in this very short poem, we have Tennyson kind of delving into like death and the power of nature and how how impactful nature is, and it's kind of juxtaposed against the death of his friend here, or whoever the vanished hand or the still voice that he is talking about. Again, we think that is Arthur Henry Hallam. So he's got he's sorrow. He's standing looking out at the ocean, and from those first 4 lines, he says, break, break, break. He's talking directly to the waves. That's called an anaphora. And it is like you speak to something that is unable to respond. So you're addressing something that is unable to respond to you. The speaker is telling them to break. He says, break, break, break on that cold gray stones, O sea, exclamation point. So break powerfully against the cold gray stones of the shore. For him, they hold like a really gloomy power that's speaking to his emotional state at the time. He is sad. He is heartbroken. He's devastated. And so the powerful waves breaking against the shore, beating against the shore is kind of like how he is feeling inside at the time. He wishes that he could get his tongue to utter the thoughts, to be able to express his emotional states. He said, I would that my tongue could utter the thoughts that arise in me. It's almost like he's kind of jealous of the fact that the waves are able to express themselves as they beat against the shore. He's kind of rendered mute by what is happening in him. And then it kind of switches here. He says, there's other people like here watching this same scene. The fisherman's boy is playing with his sister on the shore, and the sailor lad is singing in his boat. And so all these people around him are seeing this exact same thing that he is seeing, but they're having completely different experiences than he is. It's a good example of juxtaposition here, where we have the sailor boy, we have the fisherman and his sister. I'm sorry, the sailor boy in the boat and the fisherman boy and his sister that are playing. They're happy. They're enjoying the day. They're singing and playing, and all these things are happening, but he is not able to do that. He's kind of jealous of the fact that they're finding joy in their life and they're able to express their emotions, and that's not the case for him. And then he talks about the ships that are going by, they're sailing in the distance away from the shore, and they too are living differently than he is. He thinks that they're going to new lands and going to explore, a new place, somewhere that they can't, that sorrow can't touch them. But that sight is still not enough to keep him occupied, because he switches there in line 11 back to his sorrow. But oh, for the touch of a vanished hand and the sound of a voice that is still. So, that voice that is lost, that hand that is lost, now comes back to his mind, which leads us to believe that no matter what he sees or does or experiences, that he's not going to be able to escape the memory of the person that is lost to him. And then he repeats again, break, 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 just slightly changing up the words here in that second line, line 14, at the foot of thy crags, O sea, still same power, exclamation point, giving it emphasis. He tells the waves again, break, 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 and against the shore, at the foot of the crags. So despite, the power of the waves, and the damage that they can do, or the sights that he sees around him, he cannot get back to the tender grace of a day that is dead. It's gone, and it will never come back to him. So a very touching lament here, from Tennyson on the death of his friend, Arthur Henry Hallam.